Hey, and welcome back to MassFlow. Today, we're setting up organization credentials, a one-time configuration for Openrouter, proxies, and nstbrowser. You can also set up IX browser, Geelark, Dolphin browser, and others, but we'll cover those in future videos. Quick note, we're running this on a local server, so you'll see localhost in the URL. When you purchase MassFlow, you'll get your own dedicated URL with isolated resources and complete security. Let's begin. The first thing we'll do is set up our Openrouter settings, which provides AI generation to your personalized chatbot. When you click on the chatbot for the first time, you'll see a dialog explaining that you need an Openrouter key to function. So what we need to do is click on the link it provides, and then it'll redirect us to organization credentials. In here, we store all our global keys, settings, connections, and much more. This panel provides all the core global settings for all our functionalities, so make sure to set it right. First, we'll click on the Create Credential button. Then, in the dialog, we'll give it a credential name, select a service, and for credential type, we'll select Openrouter. Next, in the authentication step, retrieve your Openrouter key. You can click the Openrouter link below the field to get redirected to your dashboard. Enter the key. Then click Test Connection to verify it works. If the API key is incorrect, it'll notify you. If successful, move to Settings. Make sure status is active. Add notes if needed, and click Create Credentials. It'll take just a second to appear on our list of credentials. And there we go. Now, we'll open the chatbot again, and you'll see the new global credential for Openrouter appears. Go ahead and select the Openrouter you wish to use. In this case, we only have one, but if you had more, you can choose which one to use. Enter your key in the field, then click Save Credential. That'll automatically activate your chatbot for usage. This little chatbot is full of features. You can create and remove as many chats as you want and have them in history. You also have a list of default agents that help you understand and interact with the platform, and a settings button that lets you configure your personalized chatbot. You can create a new agent, give it any name you want, add a description, and fetch all the models from Openrouter. You can filter by free or paid models. In my case, I'll look for Mistral and select it. Next, you can give it a system prompt, like a rule that tailors your messages. You can change the temperature and max tokens. Once you do that, it'll appear in your list of agents. Let's try sending a simple text like ice cream truck to see what it does. And I know what you're going to say about the text formatting of the responses. We're working on that, and it'll be done in our next update tonight. As you can see, you can switch agents. I'm sending a message to retrieve a cron job item, which will be useful for our campaigns since our campaign scheduling works based on cron jobs. And that's it for the chatbot. In essence, it's a small feature that lets you query platform information and successfully learn how to use the entire platform and generate data on demand. Now we'll take a look into proxies. Proxies are a big part of automations, PBN management, content generation, scraping, and many other things. So we've made the process of adding proxies as smooth as possible. Just like the previous credential, click Create Credential, give it a name, a description if you want, select a service, and choose credential type, Proxy. We have three options: insert proxies via a proxy URL, individual fields, or lists. Let me show you how to insert a proxy via a complete proxy URL, which, in your case, might be a mobile rotating proxy. Enter your proxy in that field, then click Test Proxy Connection. It'll show either correct or incorrect. This saves you time making sure your proxies work now. If there's an error, it'll let you know. Now, the one most people might use is entering proxies as a list. This lets you enter a bunch of proxies that become iterable in our automations. The process is as simple as entering the proxies. And that's it. When you're ready, move to the next step, Make sure status is active so it can be found throughout the site. Then click Create Credential. And that's it. Now this is global and we can use these credentials anywhere we want, on any sort of automations, scraping, and other interesting things like PBN submissions and management, and so forth. Now we move on to setting up one of our desired software to manipulate and control. Remember, you can set up this method on a separate server, meaning you don't need to run this application on your PC. We've configured everything to work remotely. In this case, we'll set up nstbrowser as one of our browser connections. Remember what I said before. You can use any software you want. nstbrowser, ixbrowser, glark, Dolphin Anti-Browser, and many more. If you have another that you'd like to use, let us know and we can set it up for you within a day. Now we'll do the same as we do with all organization credentials. Set a name, a description, give it a service name, and then in credential type, select nstbrowser. Then we'll enter the nstbrowser host. This host is generated by one of our software that'll be installed on any VPS you wish. It'll provide you a remote URL using Cloudflare and reroute all connection tasks according to the request needed. Then we head to nstbrowser software, go to the API menu item, and for now we'll reset the API key. Copy it and paste it back in MassFlow. Remember, always test your connection to make sure your setup is correct. Then, in the next step, make sure the status is active, add any notes you may want, and click Create Credential. And that's it. We've completed the key setups for the platform. We set up an AI generator, a list of proxies, and our desired software. Now, before we create our first campaign, we'll go to Browser Profiles. In the Browser Profile page, you'll see a list of connections. The connection we just added from nstbrowser will appear there, as well as any other connections you may have established. Now, because we don't have any profiles in nstbrowser, we'll create some. It's important to remember that when creating profiles, the options provided depend and vary on the software you're connecting. For the profile name, you can enter text that'll be used for each profile prefix name. If not, it'll generate random names for each profile. Then, select the amount of profiles you wish to create. In this case, we'll enter 5. We can also select the group where these profiles should be added to. Since the nstbrowser connection is new, we don't have any groups. Then, we select the operating system you want for each profile. You can add a user agent for all of them, and also a note. Then, we can select a proxy for all these profiles to use. You can have no proxy or an individual proxy. In our case, we already created a list of proxies, and I want it to use that list. So what it'll do is randomly select one proxy for each profile we create. If there are more profiles than proxies, it'll reuse random proxies for the profiles you're generating. So, let's select the list, then move on to the hardware section. You can enter any amount of memory and CPU cores. This data is to obfuscate the browser. If you leave it empty, it'll randomly pick for you. Then, in advanced, we'll select the resolution. Again, you can randomize this if you want. Once you're happy with the settings, go ahead and create the profiles. This will take a few seconds to generate, but once they're ready, we can go back to nstbrowser, refresh the page, and you'll see the 5 profiles generated with their independent proxies. In MassFlow, you'll also see where each of those profile proxies belong to, country and state in some cases. If you wish to dig more about each profile, all you need to do is click on any of them and see their details. As you can see, for nstbrowser profiles, we can see their overview data, browser information, proxy information, and activity. So, as simple as that, we can create profiles without being in the same PC where nstbrowser is installed. We also have a tab for groups, where you can see the available groups in nstbrowser. At the moment, we have the 5 profiles in the default group, So let's go ahead and create a new group, give it a random name, and create. Now, for a group to be discoverable, it's imperative that it contains some profiles. So let's move some profiles to the new group. Excellent. Now let's go back to MassFlow and click Refetch Data. And as you can see, we were able to retrieve the latest data from nstbrowser, allowing us to sync the data bidirectionally. Something else you can do is reset the proxies of the profiles. Select the profiles to update, then click Reset. We go back to nstbrowser and refresh, and there you go. It updated the proxies for the profiles selected. We can also delete profiles. Select one of the profiles, click the Delete button, then refresh nstbrowser. As you can see, the profile was deleted successfully. Now we can also update the proxies for profiles. We can either enter a proxy URL, pick from the proxy list we created before, or enter a new single proxy. We'll try the single proxy now and set all the profiles to one proxy. And that's it. So in essence, you can create and update profiles from one single dashboard to all your connection software, completely remotely, as well as use them for your automations. Something else we've included is the fact that now you can go to history. Since sometimes it's hard to remember the last actions done, the best thing is you'll know exactly which member of your organization made a change and when, since you'll be able to see the timestamp, allowing you to keep track of everyone's actions in the platform and within the organization.
And that was basically a quick introduction into profiles. We'll be releasing more videos on how to incorporate other browser management software in the near future, so stay tuned. Now it's time for campaigns. We'll create our first campaign. For that, we need to go to Campaigns and click Create Campaign. Campaigns are composed of 4 steps. First is the campaign details. Second is the selection of flows. Flows are different sorts of automations. For example, Google CTR, social media actions like likes and follows, all the way to Google reviews and Trustpilot reviews, allowing you to use multiple browsers with emails attached to do all these actions. The third is parameters. These are the parameters we'll be giving to each automation in order for it to do what we want, the way we want to. And lastly, cron schedule, which allows us to set the times of when everything will work, at what time, and how many times per day, week, month, or year.
So, let's go ahead and start with the campaign details. Add a name, description, and in campaign type, if you don't find what you're looking for, you can just create it. In this case, I'll create a type called CTR. In Select a Flow, we'll select the flow we want to utilize. For NDA reasons, we won't be showing the entire list of flows available, so we'll just show one. This one is called Google CTR. Whenever you're looking for a specific flow, you can find it via the Categories dropdown or the Types dropdown. This helps you filter the flows based on the characteristics you're looking for. To see more information about what the flow does, click the Preview Flow button. This will show us the information of the flow and what it does, a video tutorial of what it does and how it does it, the list of parameters it requires to function, and the steps it takes on each part of the flow automation. You can also see the latest version of the automation and when it was last updated. Let's select this flow for now and move to Parameters. Since this is a CTR flow that lets us search via a niche keyword and then click on our site, we'll enter a search query and the target URL, that means our site, the one we want to increase its CTR of. The concurrent limit allows us to set how many browser profiles we want to run at the same time in batches of. The batch delay indicates the delay between the batches being opened. The random selection toggle indicates we're okay with the software automatically randomly selecting the profiles from the list selected. And the dynamic replacement means that as soon as one profile is done, it'll move to the next one without waiting for the entire batch of 3 profiles to finish. The max page parameter indicates the maximum amount of pages we want to crawl for our target URL before quitting, meaning that if it cannot find our site within the max amount of pages, it'll close and mark such automation for that profile as failed. Moving on to schedules. In schedules, we have default schedules you can use from the dropdown. These schedules are just the top schedules our users use, but if you don't like a specific schedule, you can customize it to your liking. In this case, we'll use the chatbot to retrieve a new cron schedule time. We'll select the previous one we queried before, the one of every 2 minutes, enter it, and apply changes. Then we'll select the connection we want. Remember that we said you can pick from IX browser, nstbrowser, and from any other profile management application. You have no limits. Each campaign can utilize as many different connections and profiles as you may want. But because we only have one connection, we'll select it. Then, in profile selection, you can select either individual profiles or groups. I'll select individual profile for now and select all the profiles. As I mentioned just a second ago, you can create as many schedules to run with different connections and configurations for the same campaign. Now, before we continue, we'll save the cron schedule settings by clicking Save Template, give it a nice name and description, and after that, it'll appear on your quick templates so you can use them in the near future without having to configure it ever again. For now, we'll just keep one, and again, we'll select our configuration. Also, you'll be able to filter profiles by their name in case you want to use specific ones. And once that's done, click the Create Campaign button.
And as easy as that, we were able to create a campaign that'll run forever on every cron schedule you created, without you having to worry ever again about such campaign. It'll be autonomous, and you only need to come back to your dashboard and check the progress. As you can see, it shows us a next execution time, which will tell us when the next execution will take place. Also, the cron jobs indicate the individual schedules within the campaign. So what we're going to do is wait until the next execution, which should take place at 4:16. As you can see, the 3 concurrent browser profiles we selected have opened all together as a batch and will start the automation. So let's sit back and relax. It's important to remind you that because we create these automations ourselves, we make sure everything is as human as possible, from the scrolling to the clicking. Nothing is robotic. Everything flows flawlessly, completely fault-free or error-free. We've calculated every meticulous detail, from accepting the pop-ups in Google to dealing with all sorts of blocks or barriers down the way. It'll start querying Google without any problems. And once it finds the URL or target URL we told it to search for, then it'll scroll back to it as if it found it and click on it. This is just one of the simple flows we have for CTR. We have more complex ones with the to-go-to competitors' URLs and create a bounce rate on their site, letting Google know that we were not looking for them, but instead we were looking for the target URL. This is one of the many automations we have prepared for your agency or marketing business. Imagine what you could do for the many of sites you manage and have daily niche traffic from thousands of different profiles with the click of a button. Now let's close the last one for now. No matter if you're running automations, PBN automations, mobile automations, or other automations, you'll always be able to manage all of them with the click of a button. For now, we don't want to run this campaign, so we can simply click the Pause Campaign button. Also, if you'd like to test campaigns before scheduling them to run, you can click Run Now, and that'll run your campaign with a single test automation. You can also configure your campaigns whenever you want, view important details, and much more. But this being just a simple introduction, I won't go over everything. But this has been a simple introduction into MassFlow automations. If you liked this video or wish to adopt MassFlow in your personal business, feel free to get in touch. We're here to help as much as possible. So this was all for today. Leave in the comments if you're looking to see a specific type of workflow or automation in place, and we'll make sure we make time to create something for you. This is all, and we'll see you in the next video.